Time now is 10 minutes after 7, WVKO Radio here, Columbus, Ohio. The weather forecast, well, it's a little chilly around the edges this morning, and the temperature is 43 degrees.
One of the more famous residents of Eastgate was Eddie Saunders, who worked for WVKO Radio. WVKO was the premier radio station for the black community in Columbus in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s.
Came on in 1948. Only the FM was on. I know one of the first things WVKO did was Ohio State football. Bert Charles, who did the play-by-play on WVKO, actually took Eddie with him on Ohio State football games, and that took a lot of courage.
Bert Charles stepped out there on that limb, and they got death threats. There were people who would show up to the live broadcasts and threaten Eddie and Bert Charles.
WVKO played everything during the week, gospel, jazz. In fact, their slogan was rock and roll, rhythm and blues, gospel and jazz, and the latest news. I mean, they were everything to the black community.
WVKO just didn't provide music for the community. It was a source for community information during the civil rights movement.
Which VKO was an integral part because it was the hub, the information hub for the city, for progressive, liberal thinking people. Those are the folks who would, do the marches, the folks who would do the demonstrations, protests, boycotts. A lot of them were launched or at least announced from WVKO.
Eddie Saunders was one of the premier voices on WVKO. Anywhere he went in the city, people knew his name.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's 6 o'clock time for me. I'm Eddie Saunders with Sermons and Songs. It's the one, with heavy-laden hearts and bowed down heads. Get up from there. Come on now.
I refer to, and you'll find that a lot of people refer to as the dean of black radio in Central Ohio, because he was the first black person in Central Ohio to grab a microphone and broadcast with it.
And you couldn't listen to Eddie without him becoming your friend. There's just no way.
Just got through talking to Amanda Hanna, and she was telling me about the anniversary of her and Richard.
So he was a really big radio personality. Did sermon and songs for years on the radio station, and pretty much was a radio pioneer.
And Eddie made more friends that way. Eddie was in the truest form a radio personality. He was the quintessential radio personality because he knew everybody.
Throughout his career, Eddie was able to talk to the people of Columbus, but he also got to rub elbows with many famous people like Stevie Wonder, Sammy Davis Jr., Duke Ellington, Sarah Vaughan, Nat King Cole, and many political figures.
I've seen some of those pictures that span Eddie's lifetime, and I'm telling you, he was an amazing person. And for Eddie to have met all those folks, it's one thing to meet them. Hey, shake your hand, would you sign this for me maybe? The guy never see you again. Eddie actually formed relationships, and that's one of the things that he was really good at doing, making you an instant friend. He just had that power.
I think Eddie made a huge contribution to the city. I mean, he was the first. He gave people a voice who had no voice.
But Eddie was a real, live personality. Eddie was somebody that you really could reach out and touch. Bigger than life, but still he had that human touch.